trail. No one has responded, so I close the public hearing at 6:45. All right, is there any questions or comments from the planning commission?
Let me ask you maybe one question on that. From what you just said, if it has no conflict, as it says, with items 1 through 7 there, we pretty much have no choice but to approve it, correct?
I think that that's a reasonable interpretation of what the state legislature has done.
So, this is currently, is it under construction? And
Correct.
Is there a date when it's expected to be finished?
It's my expectation in the near future, an update will be by the full village board. I was talking with DPW Lean earlier today. It looks like a remaining work should be done at some point in May, weather permitting. Obviously, that could change a lot of things. There's not an exact open date, but I believe it is this spring, early summer, when they expect to get everything out there completed.
Art, on page 3 of the diagrams, there's a couple of red boxes that say wetland disturbance. What does that mean? And I noticed that further on, we talked on another page, we talked about, wetland disturbed or permanent wetland disturbance and waterway impact, not which I assume has been signed off on by Wisconsin, DNR. But what does that exactly mean?
Correct, I don't know the exact specifications of it, other than, I believe the plans have to identify where those impacts are made, so that when they, submit it for review and approval, it's noted. Unfortunately, all I can fall back on is Mustafa, reviewed and approved the plans. Unfortunately, I don't know the exact specifications of what it means when it's wetland disturbance, but it is my understanding that everything in here has been reviewed and approved by both village engineer and the DNR.
Okay, so whatever sign-offs they need for
Correct.
that kind of.
Yes, yeah, but unfortunately, we're just catching it later than I had expected or hoped in terms of the overall review process, but yes, DPW has assured me that engineering and everything has taken care of what needs to be taken care of logistically for that to be approved.
I did look through all the diagrams and just wanted to clarify for just my own interest. So there's like a trail, that little lawn that's like at the base of the hill between the lodge and the river club. So if there's a trail going through that, or there will be a trail going through that, there won't be like a big open lawn space. Is that right?
And you're looking on the same page, is that correct?
Yeah, on page 3, there's a main trail going through there.
Correct, yep. Yes, I would agree that the main trail would cover that within that area.
Well, that's where I got married almost 40 years ago, so I hate the thought of, some other couple not being able to do the same thing because, people are walking on the trail. But again, personal preference doesn't apply here.
They connect up at the base, the little staircase comes down from the lodge at the very north. It connects into that sidewalk at the middle of the.
Yeah, it used to just be like a big lawn.
Right, so they've actually connected it and cleaned that sidewalk up, so it does connect.
And I will say trustee Maher definitely has more information on this and has been following it a little closer than I have, so I'm happy that.
The wetland area, this really was boggy area, and then put in some fill, and then put in gravel, and then there's stepping stones, so it will continue to be wet and seep, but it won't be this just mishmash of mud. And the one in the middle is where the boardwalk is, where there's an old outfall, and they have this very large boardwalk over this low wet area. Very, really nice trail.
Yeah, I looked through all the plans and the boardwalk and the little fishing area, and it looks great. And, it'll be great for those who maybe have some mobility issues that they can use more of the park.
Yeah. Any other questions? So does anyone wish to make a motion? There's a suggested motion on the bottom of the second page with the village attorney's addition of substantial evidence. If someone wishes to add that, someone want to make a motion?
Sure. I move to approve the conditional use permit application for the construction of the River District Riparian Trail to be located at existing Milwaukee County-owned parkland at the southwest intersection of East Capitol Drive and North Estabrook Parkway, and existing Village of Shorewood owned properties at 3905 North Estabrook Parkway, 3907 North Estabrook Parkway, and 3565 North Morris Boulevard. Based on substantial of finding there's conditional, the conditions listed 1 through 7.
I'll second again.
This is a roll call vote.
I don't believe it needs to be, but we could. Crystal, would you, conditional use permits that require what roll call, what do they?
Not.
Okay, all
So
right.
not to my
Okay,
understanding.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Great. The next item on our agenda is discussion and recommendation on the sale of public land, fire station number 83 to the North Shore Fire Department. We have Chief Whitaker here. I don't know if Art, who's going to lead off on this?
I was under the impression that village manager Ewald would, but would
I would
you
be happy to.
Okay, yes.
And assistance
Thank
is
you.
usually. Can I hold the paper, please? Well, the memo pretty much provides some background for all of you leading up to where we are today. The village has evaluated that building for the last several years, about a decade, for purposes of our police services. And they made the decision 2 years ago to purchase a different building and to move our police operations. At the same time, the North Shore Fire Department, of which we are one of 7 members in terms of community, has been very proactive and diligent about their long-range financial planning, particularly because their infrastructure and their equipment is a big expense when we go look at the fire service. So they have been looking at the facility, and it's been a pretty discussed topic, I think, amongst both groups leading up to this event. But now that we've vacated the building, they're looking to acquire the property for purposes of constructing a fire station. And we've had some dialogue with the board. In accordance with state statute, the Plan Commission is offered the availability to weigh in regarding the use of the property moving forward. And Chief Whitaker is here so he can answer more specifics for you, but they had gone through a process of looking at additional properties that would be near our community or within our community. As you can imagine, that's a challenge. It also becomes a challenge for a community to move a station and have that same level of disruption next to other uses in the future. I am a fan of the fire service and find their tones to be quite relaxing. But I know that most people, well, you know, it's the nature of the business, right? They go off and it kind of sounds like a lullaby to me. But for most other general residents, you can imagine that may cause some impact on their neighborhood. So they're looking to reutilize this existing site to move forward. And I don't know if you have anything else you'd like to add.
No, I think that's a good summary of where we're at. This project has been, I think, with the police station side of it, evaluated as that went on. So it's sort of been a moving project to move forward to get to this point where we're at.
Is there some analysis of response time and figuring your locations?
Right.
Did you complete that?
So when we looked at this site, we did an analysis of other property that was either available or potentially were to become available. This was about a year and a half to 2 years ago. And we looked at other sites that were potentially going to be available. From a standpoint of location, this is probably not a bad location. Anytime you reset a fire station, you can just pick a spot and plop it down and not disrupt neighborhoods, not have to deal with land acquisition. You would have a perfect spot, but that's not reality. So this is probably a very good spot to stay as far as where we're at, not only just for Shorewood, but for the other 7 communities we serve too.
Any questions or comments?
I'll just for one point of clarification. On the bottom of page 2, the memo reads, at this point, the Plan Commission's requested the state whether they have an objection to the sale of the station based upon the goals and objectives of the North Shore Fire Department and the village. The recommendation relates to the ownership of the fire station, not necessarily the land use aspect, which before us is not proposed to change. So that's not under consideration at this time. The Plan Commission should consider whether or not a change in ownership would have any impact on provided service levels in reference to the village's comprehensive plan, which states a desire to provide well-maintained public buildings appropriate for service needs. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of why this is before the Plan Commission tonight. As Ewald mentioned, the village board, referencing state statute, is bringing to the Plan Commission first for that recommendation.
Will there be planning commission involved in this process in the future?
Correct, so yes, any change to the existing facility, whether it's, new construction or anything like that, the station right now is zoned plan development district. We don't really have on file a specific agreement with that particular property, so any change to that property would come back to the Plan Commission for a modification or brand new plan development district. A certified survey map would be the first step. Obviously, if they wanted to split the property off to grant ownership, certified survey map would probably be the first step of what would come back to the Plan Commission. So there will be several reviews and or probably meetings to discuss the ultimate plans with which we're look to approve eventually. This is just kind of the first step, which allows that's the next steps to move forward with.
Okay, yes.
Are there any historic protections on the building?
Currently not. So my understanding is that like Village Hall and other properties within the village of Shorewood, it's eligible, but it has not been listed. Village Hall has been obviously to this point, but there's numerous properties throughout the village that could be eligible, but it has not been listed or protected at any level at this point. My understanding is several changes have been made to it over the years that would impact the designation of it, but to my understanding, it currently still is eligible based on a study that was done, and I can't determine the year, I would say years ago. I had one of my inspectors research with the State Historical Society, the number of properties of the village. I think it's like 1,200 or so at that time were identified. To my knowledge, less than 10 have been actually designated. I don't know when that study was performed. I'm betting decades perhaps ago, but it's not currently protected, no.
Well, it's historical to Shorewood residents.
Sure. No, understandably.
Outside agency.
Understandably.
Well, the board must have met in closed session about this, because until we got our packets, this was the first I was aware, and I'm sure other residents as well, before we're up on the village website. So I do have a few questions.
Cool.
So it looked like the board has agreed to sell the building. Is that correct, what I got from this memo?
No.
Can I read that? It said on March 5th, the village board provided the village manager with direction to proceed. Oh, just to receive a recommendation on it.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so you guys
See with
have,
this process.
you haven't agreed to sell it.
Right.
And I was confused, right, so we would sell the building but not the land it sits on, that we would maintain ownership? So it'd be like an embassy in a foreign country?
No, my understanding is both the building and the land would be, and that's what the certified survey map would do.
Okay.
It would officially split it off to allow them ownership of the land and the building as well.
Maybe this is too early to answer kind of question, but do we envision yet that the footprint of a replacement building would be about the same?
The ground footprint would
Right.
be similar.
Ground footprint?
Right. We don't expect, if we were to build a new building on the site, and that is yet to be firmly decided, that building, 2 floors, is about 18,000 square feet. We don't need that much space. So we need about 9,000 square feet, but the first floor is not, the footprint is about 9,000 square feet of what's there now on the ground. So the ground level is about 9,000 square feet. So it would be similar.
So you might decide just to do a one-story building, rather than
Yeah, I mean, that, from a cost and need perspective, that if you had to look at efficiency, that would be,
no pole is fine, Tom.
no, and, well, let's keep exciting our workers' comp people here.
we were to sell it, we don't know what the sale price would be yet.
The board is
Yeah, we're not
negotiating
sure.
that.
Okay.
Right.
You know, there was some language about, you know, how much the fire department pays to lease the building
Right.
and, you know, what operating costs are. I guess, I'm just wondering how much thought has been put in. I know when all the discussions about the police station and the board, the village board had several companies, you know, look at the costs of renovating it. And because it's an older building, it has some issues, as with every old house or building in the village. Has consideration been given into renovating that unneeded space in the current structure or other village departments like the historical society or the senior center, who's